Hello there. Welcome to my show, COVID-19 Update by Heerak for July 16, 2020. It's Thursday, one day before TGIF. Thank God it's Friday and it's summertime, nice and hot, 90 to 100 degrees, perfect beach weather. I hope you have a nice weekend this weekend at the beach. There's Ocean City in Maryland that's close to Arlington, and then a little bit further away, Virginia Beach. Um, yeah, there's a lot to do. You get suntan. Um, yeah, so I would encourage you to go have fun in the beach. Make sure you take precautions, obviously. That's the advice of Heerak Christian Kim, U.S. Independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. But have fun, yeah. We don't know what's going to happen next year. World Health Organization says COVID-19 is forever. Dr. Fauci said this week at Georgetown University that even if you get COVID-19, and have antibodies, they probably won't protect you. You could probably get it again. Um, so you don't know what's going to happen. You may die during the flu season in October. So enjoy this summer while you have it. And also another thing that could happen is they could just shut the beaches down. So right now, North Carolina has a lot of cases. South Carolina, Virginia's at 1,000 cases per day. So one of the things that can happen is they could shut the beach down in August, and you won't be able to go to the beach. So enjoy it while it's open. And we have a Democratic governor, Ralph Northam, and you know how crazy Democrats are. They're always like shutting things down, making you wear a mask. It's crazy. I oppose mandating a mask at the city level or at the state level. I think it's absolutely wrong to make it a law to require you to wear a mask. That's so stupid. It's the kind of thing like Democrats do. Um, that's why, you're looking at a nightmare scenario if Democrats come to power, either as president, like Joe Biden, or senators, House of Representative member, because they're going to force you to wear a mask. And World Health Organization says COVID-19 is forever, which means you'll be wearing a mask until you die. Um, Yeah, you can see the ladies behind me. They're fairly physically fit. In order to be that physically fit, they have to jog or exercise every day. And if they're jogging by themselves, why should they have to wear a mask? By requiring everybody to wear a mask, they're going to be less prone to jog, which means we're going to have a lot of women becoming fat and ugly. Um, which will not be good for them either because they have to be fit and pretty to get married, right? Because guys like that. And I'm looking out for you guys out there so you'll have nice, beautiful women to marry. Um, this mask thing is just, it's like making you slaves. It's like branding you. You have to wear a mask. And this is why, just based on the mask, you should vote against Joe Biden. You should vote against Mark Warner, who's running for Senate. Because, and you should vote against Ralph um, Northam because they're all like requiring you masks, trying to like control your life. Is that what you want? Generation Z, Generation Y, do you want your life to be controlled by these liberal Democrat governors who are like dictators? Democrats are such dictators, you know. This is why I will never join the Democratic Party. They're always trying to force you to do this, force you to do that, and it's just ridiculous. It's like they're like 90-year-old grandmama, you know, Dr. Fauci even said, like, if you're 18 to 22, even if you get COVID-19, you're probably not going to die. I mean, I disagree with him on that. I think you can die even if you were 18, 19, 20. And that's why I think you should social distance and be careful. But Dr. Fauci doesn't think that. He thinks, like, if you're 18 to 22, you're not, you can get COVID and it's not going to be that bad. So that's his position. I disagree with him on that. But I mean, he could be right. Who knows? I mean, COVID-19 is only 5 months old. World Health Organization says this is forever. So we just don't know. It's like a snake, bite. You get COVID, you die. If you have asthma or some kind of peanut allergy or some kind of condition, but if you don't have a condition, you know, um, maybe it's like a bee sting. You're not allergic to bees. It hurts, but it doesn't really. You move on. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think I'm right. I think virus has mutated since first peak from March to May, and the mutated virus is now targeting 1-year-olds. So, I would recommend you just like socially, like not distancing. But on the other hand, if COVID-19 is forever, as World Health Organization says, um, then you have limited time to find your happiness, right? Life in 2019 is different from life in 2020. Meaning, in 2019, you can date a girl and you have a lot of time. But in 2020, after COVID, you don't really have that much time. So what that means is that you probably will have to find a woman right away and then marry her pretty soon. You don't have the luxury of time because you don't know when you're going to die. You don't know when the laws are going to change. You don't know when the viruses are going to mutate to be more lethal. Um, so I would say use July and August well. If you're 22, 23, 24, you should use these months to find somebody and get married. You can still have a wedding right now, but in the winter, it's going to be flu season. It's going to be horrible. So if you're like 22 to 24, I said find somebody nice, good Christian person, marry them. Don't wait around because you can't like go on dates. You know that, right? You can't go on dates really. Restaurants are all closed, and it's going to get worse in the winter. And World Health Organization says COVID-19 is forever, which means next 10 years you're not really going to be able to date anyone. Um, so you gotta adapt to the circumstances. You may not like it. I don't like it. I'm single. I'm still wanting to find the love of my life and marry her. But I recognize the fact that 2020 post-COVID is completely different from 2019. 2019, you saw me in Poland. In 10 days, I dated more than 10 women. Well, it was like a bachelor in Poland. I shared my photos of the beautiful women I dated with you. But it's not like that anymore. You can't just go on dates. Restaurants are closed. Even if they're not closed, you got to social distance to get COVID and die. Virus is mutating constantly. So you have to adapt. That means if you find somebody beautiful, let's say this weekend in Ocean City or Virginia Beach, you should seriously like consider, and you hit it off, you should consider marrying that person. Don't dilly battle because especially if you're 22 to 24, you're kind of going through that limit because um, my limit is I prefer not to marry anybody over 26 because your eggs are like 26 years old. And after 30 years, your ex can become like, your child can become autistic or ADHD or bipolar. Yeah, I don't want to risk that. So, yes, I prefer to marry somebody like closer to 18 and then have like 4 kids while she's like, 18 to 26. I think that's ideal. So, like, if you're on the beach and you see one of these beautiful women and they're Christians, and you hit it off, I would say, just marry that person, start your family, because you're not going to be up to date. You know, if World Health Organization is right and this COVID-19 is like forever, you're not going to be able to date anyone in the foreseeable future or even forever. You just have to like, you may have to social distance for the rest of your life. And if you have Democrats, they may force you to wear a mask until you die. If that's what you're looking at. Yeah, I mean, if you don't like masks, being forced to wear a mask, you can vote for Donald Trump. Because he's not going to pass a law nationally to force you to wear a mask. But Joe Biden will. And that's why you don't want to vote for Democrats. They're going to, because there are parts of the country where you don't have to wear a mask. When you're jogging, you don't have to wear a mask. If you're in a beach by yourself, and nobody's around you for 10 feet, you don't have to wear a mask. So, yeah, requiring you to wear a mask is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, so vote against Democrats. They're trying to like control your life. So if you're Generation Z, Generation Y, just vote against Democrats because you don't want them to control your life. And that's what they want to do. They're like grandpa, grandma, trying to like force you to like do X, Y, and Z. Do you want to live the rest of your life like that? Yeah, don't vote for Biden. Don't vote for like Mark Warner in Virginia running for the Senate. Yeah, these people will ruin your life because they'll force you to wear a mask all the time. You're going to wear a mask when you're jogging? That's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, yeah, vote against Democrats because they're going to force you to wear a mask. I mean, you see CNN or the fake media, they're so stupid. They're like, oh, President Trump should make everybody wear a mask. CNN is such like a fascist, like dictator organization. They're like try to like get everybody to force people to wear a mask. I respect Georgia governor because he's like saying no one's gonna force anybody to wear a mask, And then we're a free nation. We're America, for God's sake. We're land of the free and the brave. Nobody should force anyone to wear a mask. I mean, I wear a mask whenever I go outside because I don't want to get COVID and die. But I don't think anybody should be forced to wear a mask. That is so stupid. I choose to wear a mask and I do that because, I'm a free person. I can choose what I want, I could choose to fly a Confederate flag if I want. I could choose not to fly it if I don't want. I'm a free person, you know. I can wear a mask if I want. I don't wear a mask if I don't want to. I'm a free man. I'm not a slave. But these Democrats are trying to force you to do this, force you to do that. And that's why Democrats are like dictators. CNN's always trying to like force the governors to like force us to wear a mask, and it's so idiotic. And that's why I don't believe the liberal media. Don't trust the liberal media. It's fake news, like CNN, fake news. Yeah. Um, I think that if you own a private business, you have the right to require people to wear a mask. It's your private business. This is America. If you own something, somebody comes to your home, you have to like abide by your rules because that's your house. In the same way, when we go into a private business, someone owns that business, and that person who owns the business wants you to wear a mask. You should wear a mask. I mean, you don't have to go to that business, right? You can shop somewhere else, but they have the right to do that. So I think it's better just to have it more voluntary basis because people could die any moment. We don't want people to die as slaves being forced to wear masks. You know what I'm saying? If people are going to die, they're going to die. I mean, even if you have a mask, it only protects you 40% anyway. So it's not like just because you wear a mask, you're not going to die. Dr. Fauci was saying at Georgetown University this week that if COVID-19 is airborne inside, which he thinks it is, that even if you wear a mask, it's going to go over the mask, under the mask, around the mask. You'll still get it. So, I still think you should wear a mask because 40% protection is better than 0% protection, but it doesn't fully protect you. And that's why when I wear a mask, I still want people to be like 6 feet away from me because I don't want to get it. I'm just being cautious, because I believe that this thing is going to kill a lot of people. As you know, I predict that 30 million Americans are going to be killed by COVID-19 by 2022. That's because, like, you know, um, sometimes you have false sense of security, like you wear a mask and you talk to people, you get infected. And you think that's like a false sense of security, it's not good. Like, you know how people are like, they wear a mask and they think like they're not going to get COVID, they start talking to everybody. That's how you get COVID and die. So one of the things I'm predicting is a lot of people who have false sense of security wearing a mask, and that's how it's going to spread aggressively. Like you wear a mask and you're like, oh, I can talk to everybody. It's not like that, you know. That's why I think you should not require everybody to wear a mask because it gives people a false sense of security. Like, oh, I'm wearing a mask, I can talk to anybody. No, it's not like that at all. So I think not requiring a mask is the better way to go. And I oppose liberal media like CNN, CBS News, ABC, NBC News, PBS that are trying to like require you to wear a mask. You know, like I think you're a free person. You're not a slave. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. That's your freedom. And if you don't wear a mask and I wear a mask and I don't want to talk to you, I have the freedom not to talk to you, right? So unless you're a beautiful woman like that, some guys will take a risk of death, for a beautiful woman. Guys are. And they're like that even when there's no COVID, guys are guys, boys will be boys. But yeah, I mean, stand against the mask mandate. I like the fact that Governor Kemp in Georgia is suing Atlanta Mayor Keisha Bottoms, who's requiring everybody to wear a mask in Atlanta. Absolutely ridiculous. She's a mayor. She could shut public schools down in Atlanta if she's a mayor, but she should not require everybody to wear a mask. I mean, that's like being a slave owner, like making everybody into a slave. I just absolutely disagree with that. That kind of like dictatorship. Keisha Bottoms, Mayor Keisha Bottoms in Atlanta is becoming a dictator. Like, she's a mayor, so there are certain things she has the right to do, right? She could close down Atlanta public schools if she thinks that it's not safe. I recommend that she close down Atlanta public schools because I personally don't think it's safe to have little children learning uh, in the classroom during COVID. I say, teach them online 100%. We have the tools to do it. We have the technology to do it. We have laptop computers. We have internet. So let's just teach our students 100% online. So that's what I think we should do to protect their life. Because little children, they're not going to wear a mask all the time. Even if you give them a mask, they're going to take it off and they're going to get COVID and die, possibly. So I think it's just better to like have 100% online learning. So as mayor of the city, Mayor Keisha Bottom has the authority and the right to close Atlanta public schools down. And she should, in my opinion. But I don't think she has the right to force everybody in Atlanta to wear a mask all the time. Because that's like being a slave owner. That's like being a dictator. And I totally disagree with that. And I'm shocked that Keisha Bottoms will force everyone to wear a mask. That's just so unrighteous. I mean, why should people feel like they're slaves? I mean, why do you want to force them to like be miserable? If they want to wear a mask, let them wear a mask. If they don't want to wear a mask, don't let them wear a mask. You can't be ridiculous. Like if they're going to go inside to a shop and the shop says wear a mask, they should wear a mask, obviously. But you cannot like force people to do stuff, especially when they could die with COVID in 3 months. You're going to make the last 3 months of their life miserable. It's absolutely ridiculous. And that's why I'm saying you should go to the beach this weekend because you don't know when you're going to die. This may be the last time you go to the beach and you may die in the winter, Because a lot of people are going to die in the winter. I'm predicting, maybe 1 million per month may die. Because people are going to wear a mask because their state says you got to wear a mask. They're going to think they're safe and they're going to get COVID and die. Watch, that's going to happen. Because masks are not 100% foolproof. As Dr. Fauci said, even if you wear a mask, if COVID-19 is airborne, if you go under the mask, over the mask, you'll get it, you know? And so, I mean, I still say you should wear a mask, and I'm sure Dr. Fauci will say that too. But I'm not going to force you to do it by law. I'm not going to say, I'm going to ticket you for $300 if you don't wear a mask. It's ridiculous, you know? Yeah, I mean, you can say government buildings. When you come into government buildings, you have to wear a mask. Mayor Keisha Bottoms has the right to do that. She's the mayor. She has the right as a mayor to force you to wear a mask in all municipal city government offices, buildings. Yeah, she has the right to do that. But yeah, I mean, she shouldn't like overstep her boundaries and act like a dictator. That's just not right. See, this is why I have a problem with liberals. They go extreme, like they become really, really extreme. Like Mayor Keisha Bottom forcing all these Atlanta people to wear masks. You know how expensive masks are? I mean, you know, I care about poor people. You know, I'm Heerak, independent candidate for U.S. Congress of Virginia State District, and I care about poor people. And if you buy a mask in your corner store, it's like $1 or $2 per mask. And especially in socioeconomically poor areas, you know, it's hard for them to get masks, right? They'll have to pay like $2, $3 for a mask. One mask that could last them a day. I mean, unless Mayor Keisha Bottoms is going to give everybody a free mask, she doesn't have a right to tell everybody to wear a mask. It's unethical because there are people who have SNAP and they're living like they need food and you're going to require them to wear a mask. That's absolutely ridiculous, you know? And I say that for all the Democratic governor as well. If you're going to require everybody to wear a mask, you better give them free mask every day. You know, that's, some countries do that. They say, we're going to make you wear a mask, but we're going to give you a free mask every day. You know, I still disagree with that, but at least they're going to take care of your finances, right? But Mayor Keisha Bottoms is not going to give everybody in Atlanta a free mask. She doesn't have the right to tell them to wear a mask. You know, you gotta, you know, the least you could do is like pay for the masks. And she's not even going to pay for the mask. She's going to make you pay for the mask. And if you don't wear a mask, you're going to have to pay $300 fine. I don't know how much it is in Atlanta. Some places they're charging $300. I'm like, how many people do you know in poor areas who could pay $300 ticket? And who's going to like require you to do that? It's the Atlanta police. So Keisha Bottoms is going to require Atlanta police to force everybody in Atlanta to wear a mask. And, you know, you see how unfair that is for the Atlanta police officers who have lots of stuff they need to do. And they don't need more work. It's unfair from all angles. So I'm absolutely against cities requiring their citizens to wear a mask. I hope Mayor Bowser will not be so mean like that. I don't think she will because I think Mayor Bowser is smart. I don't know, maybe I'll be proven wrong. I respect Mayor Bowser, but I mean, who knows? Let's see what she does, you know? Yeah, I mean, people can act stupidly in crisis situations, and sometimes that's shocking, but people shock you with their stupidity in crisis, and I think all these governors and mayors panicking and requiring everybody to wear a mask by law, they're being absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat. I mean, I think it's mostly Democrats, but you know, there are some Republicans who are like Democrats, you know? So I would be surprised. But I don't think anybody should require anybody to wear a mask. You know, I think it's absolutely wrong. Certainly like making you wear a mask outside when you're walking around, ridiculous. Today is a snake day, and I call every politician who requires you to wear a mask a snake. I call every journalist who says that you should be required to wear a mask. They're all snakes. right? They want to control you. They want to control your life. They want to make you into their slaves. Don't let liberals make you into their slaves. Register as Republican or an independent and vote against Democrats because they want to make you into slaves. They want to make you into slaves as Democrats, liberals. That's why they want you to wear a mask all the time. They want to make you into slaves. They want to try to force you to wear a mask with like police officers enforcing that law. Absolutely ridiculous. You know, yeah. So, um, yeah, um, yeah. So vote for Heerak Christian Kim on November 3rd, 2020. I'm independent candidate running against Dunbar, who's Democrat. He probably wants you to wear a mask all the time. You know, he's a Democrat. That's how Democrats are, right? Yeah. But this is the weekend, so let's be positive here. You know, it's TGIF tomorrow. You have a beautiful weekend coming where you can go to the beautiful beach and see a lot of beautiful women. Maybe you can pick out one of them to be your wife. You know, if you're a Christian, you're not supposed to have sex before marriage anyway. So, I mean, geez, when you want to have sex with one of these women, so pick out a beautiful woman, marry them, and have a lot of sex every day. Have sex like 2, 3 times a day. Have a lot of children. Have a happy life. You know, yeah, I recommend it. So if you're 22 to 24, or if you're started working at 18, you just go to the beach over the weekend, find a nice girl to marry her. You know, and this weekend can be your weekend where you find a nice girl to marry, start a family. You know, if you started working at 18, you know, you can start a family. You can work, and you'll make enough money to have a family. Yeah, just find your happiness. You know. Um, yeah, I recommend everybody go to the beach. Make sure you social distance though. You need at least 6 feet between you and others, unless your family members. Like if you happen to marry one of these hot women, then obviously you could go with her every weekend to the beach and you don't have to social distance, obviously. That's your wife. Um, but obviously with the strangers, you have to be careful. Um, obviously, if you find a beautiful woman like that who you want to date, you know, you may risk it, you know, but I wouldn't risk it with any women below like 8.5 out of 10 in your own scale, you know, because pain is whatever you say it is in 0 to 10 scale. Same with beauty, right? If you think a woman is 8.6 out of 10 in your own scale, then that beauty is what you say it is. Like pain is what you say it is. Patient is always right. So, yeah, so if you find a woman who's over 8.5, this is like a B average, then, you know, approach her and see if she feels the same. And then if you guys feel the same, marry her. You know, don't wait around. This is like, you could die with COVID in a couple months. So don't wait around. It's not like you have all the time in the world now. And as I said, World Health Organization thinks COVID-19 is forever. So you may be in this situation forever. You may not be able to date until you die. The next like 50 years, if World Health Organization is right. And Dr. Fauci said even if you get COVID once, you have immunity only for a few months or maybe shorter, and you get it again. So yeah, this is like forever. He said that when he was discussing a vaccine, you know, he said you have to get vaccine again and again and again, even if we have a vaccine that works. I, Heerak Christian, came independent candidate for U.S. Congress of Virginia's 8th District. I do not think we'll develop a vaccine that will work because we don't have a vaccine for HIV virus. We don't have a vaccine for hepatitis C. We don't have a vaccine for herpes simplex virus. Yes, I don't think we'll have a vaccine for COVID-19. So hunker down because, you know, there's no law in nature that says you need a vaccine or you're going to have a vaccine. There's no law like that. So I'm not counting on a vaccine, and I don't think you should count on a vaccine either because you false hope is not going to get you anywhere. We had about 1,000 deaths in the last 24 hours. 981 people died in the last 24 hours. So currently the total death in America is 138,339. Confirmed cases are going up like pretty high, right? It went up like what, 80,000 in 24 hours. So now we're at 3,574,371 cases. But as I said, God's punishing the United States of America for gay marriage laws that God opposes, because Romans chapter 1 shows that we have to oppose homosexuality, and the Bible wants us to legalize homosexuality. So as you know, Heerak Christian Team Independent Candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. That's who I am. I'm making a campaign promise to you. My first thing I'll do when I get to Congress, if you vote for me, is I'm going to work with Republicans, Democrats, and Independents to legalize gay marriage and homosexuality. Like LGBTQ plus will be all illegal in any form. And number two, I will work to legalize abortion with Republicans and Democrats. There are a lot of Democrats who want to legalize abortion, but because the Democratic Party is so evil, they're like, they can get a party platform. So I don't think I have any problem getting Democrat House of Representative members to join me in legalizing abortion if you vote for me for U.S. Congress. And the third thing I want to do is, because there are a lot of African Americans who are Christians and 100% of Hispanics are Christians, I want to help Hispanics and African Americans in cities throughout America to come out of poverty. So I want to do that through education and through healthcare. As you know, Jesus Christ is a racist. He said a lot of racist things in the Gospels. He never fought racism. So Heerak Christian Team Independent Candidate for U.S. Congress will never fight racism because fighting racism is not what makes a nation better. Fighting racism makes the nation worse. You create race conflict by fighting racism. So I condemn Southern Baptist Convention from fighting racism. They're going against the gospel. They need to repent and come back to God, because God is a racist. God chose one race, the Jewish race, to be his chosen nation, although God rejected the Jewish race when Jews killed Jesus Christ according to the gospel, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. But the fact that God initially chose one race shows he's a racist. So you're not going to win any brownie points with God fighting racism, because the Old Testament does not fight racism. New Testament does not fight racism. Fighting racism is fighting God. Because God is racist. And Jesus Christ is racist. There's still a lot of racism in the gospel. If you fight racism, you're fighting God. You're fighting the gospel, because the gospel is racist. Yeah. Racism is not sin in the Bible. Democracy says racism is sin, but Jesus did not agree with Roman democracy. Roman democracy also said racism is sin, but Jesus was racist and he hated Roman democracy. And Greek democracy also wanted to destroy racism because it's a democracy. But Old Testament always believed in racism and pushed racism, and that's why Old Testament rejected democracy. So Christianity is not compatible with democracy. So one day, maybe we the people can change our government from a democratic form of government to another form of government. U.S. Constitution says we the people have the right to change government, and that's what I think would be a good thing for us to do, change our government, because change the U.S. Constitution. The U.S. Constitution is imperfect. If U.S. Constitution allows people to embrace gay marriage, obviously U.S. Constitution should be wiped out, or we should have a new Constitution. So I would support abolishing the U.S. Constitution by vote, either by popular vote or by Senate and House of Representatives. Let's rip off the U.S. Constitution and let's create a new Constitution that is a better Constitution. We don't have to be slaves to democracy. I see my tweets and I see Republicans and Democrats tweeting like democracy is God. Democracy isn't God. We the people, we the American people, can change democracy anytime we want as a majority. That's built into the Constitution. Constitution itself says we all have the right to destroy the Constitution. You're not slaves to the Constitution. I'm not slave to the Constitution. We can rip up the Constitution and create a new Constitution as we the people. We're not slaves. And there are Republicans tweeting, making it sound like we're slaves to the Constitution. It's absolutely idiotic. I oppose every Republican, senator, and House of Representatives who want to worship the U.S. Constitution like it's God. I think you're going to go to eternal damnation and hell for worshiping the U.S. Constitution, treating it like it's God, perfect. You will go to hell when you die from COVID, maybe. I oppose every Republican senator, every Republican House of member, a Republican House of Representative member who treat U.S. Constitution like God. Obviously, I love you. I care about you, the people. I don't care about the Constitution that much. Constitution is good if it helps you, the American people. Constitution should be ripped up if it enslaves you. That's my position. And I don't think Republicans or Democrats should use U.S. Constitution to enslave you. That's not right. As you know, I stand for the U.S. Constitution's First Amendment, your right to freedom of speech. I will fight for your right to fly the Confederate flag or have Confederate statues. And I fight for Black people's right to be part of Black Lives Matter, which is a Black nationalist, Black racist movement. They hate white people. But they have the right to do that under the First Amendment. Everybody have the right to believe what you want, be friends with who you want. Nobody can force you to have Black friends if you don't want to have Black friends. Nobody can force you to have white friends if you don't want to have any white friends. You're free to do what you want. You're not a slave. There are liberal progressives who are trying to force every white people to have a Black friend. That's absolutely ridiculous. You're a free man. You're not a slave. If you don't want to have a single Black friend, that's your right. If you're a Black person and you're like Black Panther or you're Black nationalist and you hate all white people, you have the right to hate all white people and not have any white friends. You have that right. In America, you have freedom in your private space to do what you want. Nobody should force you to have a Black friend. Nobody should force you to have a white friend. If you just want to have 100% white friend, more power to you. That's your right as an American. And don't be using the U.S. Constitution to trying to make you a slave and tell you need a Black friend. No, you do what you want. Once the United States Constitution is used to make you into a slave, that's the time we have to rip it up as American people. We, the people, must rip up the U.S. Constitution if Republican establishment, Democratic establishment wants to use the U.S. Constitution to make you into a slave. You're not a slave. And that's why you should vote for me, Heerak Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th district. Because I don't worship the U.S. Constitution. Because 10 Commandments said, thou shalt not make for yourself an idol. I refuse to make U.S. Constitution into my idol and do idol worship. And I call on Republican senators not to worship the U.S. Constitution. I call on the United States House of Representative members who are Republicans not to worship the United States Constitution, because you will go to hell for breaking the first 2 commandments in the 10 commandments. And obviously, that goes for you for Democrats, but you know my position. Democrats support killing little babies. How are they going to go to heaven, right? They have 0 chance of going to heaven supporting abortion, killing little babies. So if you're Generation Z watching this show, Generation Y, don't join the Democratic Party. It's the party of evil, killing little babies. How dare they kill little babies, through abortion? It's evil. Obviously, as I said, God is punishing the United States of America for gay marriage laws of the federal government. And as I said, if President Trump supports LGBTQ plus, you could call him the son of Satan and oppose him because that's what he is. Anybody who supports gay marriage rights supports satanic power, and you should oppose him. So you should vote against Trump and Biden. You can write in your father's name if you want. Yeah, but don't support President Trump if he supports LGBTQ plus. He hasn't come out and clearly condemned it, so there's still a question mark, you know. And I want you to know that you should be loyal to Jesus. You're not a slave of the U.S. Constitution. You're not a slave of President Trump. So support President Trump only if he supports Christian America, only if he opposes LGBTQ plus. Yeah, you heard me say that here again and again. We trust God. We don't trust human beings. No human being is trustworthy, including President Trump. So we know that God hates America because America hates God. And we know that America hates God because America rejects Romans chapter 1 and Deuteronomy that says you can legalize homosexuality. So God is punishing America as he promised in Romans chapter 1 by sending wrath of God through COVID death. So that's why we have 1,000 deaths per day. And we're going to have lots of death. I'm predicting that there will be 10,000 people who die every day from COVID. We need to bring America back to God because God controls the virus. How do we know? Because look at the numbers of people who are dying in Muslim countries where they kill homosexuals, you know, because they have the Sharia law. God loves Muslims. God just hates Americans because Americans support gay marriage. And obviously, not all Americans, because the majority of Americans hate homosexuals, but God's punishing America because of Supreme Court justices who are supporting gay marriage, all the judges who are supporting gay marriage, all the House of Representative members and senators who are supporting gay marriage in both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. You're going to rot in hell if you support gay marriage. But I stand with you, the American people, because I know the majority of American people want to legalize homosexuality because you love Jesus, you want to follow the Bible. You are not like those evil people, Republican senators who are evil, who wants to protect gay rights. You are not like those evil Democratic senators who want to protect gay rights. Or you're not like this evil Kavanaugh and Supreme Court justice who want to protect gay rights. We the people, we are Americans who love Jesus, who want to follow Jesus. So we reject Republicans in the establishment. We reject the Democrats in the establishment. As you know, I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat. I encourage you to leave the Republican Party and become independent, especially if they support gay marriage, because if you're part of a party that supports gay marriage, you may go to hell forever. Reject the party if they support gay marriage. Reject the party, tear up your Republican Party membership, and become independent. Join my party. I will create a new party, if that's God's will, that will reject gay marriage or homosexuality. And I would love to see any pro-gay marriage party, if the Republican Party is gay marriage party, become like the Federalist Party, like disappear. We are the people. We can change the Constitution. We can change any government. We are the people. So vote for Heerak Christian Team Independent candidate for U.S. Congress. I'll be happy to be your leader, your servant leader, to lead the way to tearing up the U.S. Constitution and writing a new Constitution with bipartisan support in U.S. Congress. Yeah, we need to change the Constitution. It's not perfect. That's how we got here, because the Constitution is a problem. If the Constitution were not a problem, we would not be in the situation we are in. Constitution is the problem. We need to tear it up. You got to write a new one, right? I mean, you're going to go down with a sinking ship. America is in current situation because of the U.S. Constitution. We need to tear it up as American people and write a better document that's going to serve us better in 21st century. Because the United States Constitution is not working. Look at our nation. We have gangs, we have drugs, Look at our nation. This is because of the U.S. Constitution. We need to rip it up and write a new constitution. And we, the people, can do it because this is our government. This is our country. It's not like senators are our slave masters, right? No, governors are not our slave masters. Although some Democrats want to be a slave master, force you to wear a mask. This is our country. We're going to claim this as our country, and we're going to change the Constitution if we, the people, want to. And I recommend that we do, because we are in this situation because U.S. Constitution is a problem, right? Because if U.S. Constitution were perfect, we would not be in this mess. This is a 200-year experiment that failed. We need to change the Constitution. We need to change the form of the government to accommodate the wishes of the people. And hopefully we could do it peacefully through U.S. Congress. So vote for me for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, because you should never be a slave to a piece of paper, U.S. Constitution. You should not be a slave to a piece of paper. That doesn't even have life. Yeah. So look at Muslim countries. God loves Muslims because they kill homosexuals. Because God wants his law kept, whether you're Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, Jewish, God wants you to keep God's law. God's law, according to Romans chapter 1, is perfect and it's written in nature. Iran, which has number one case in Middle East, has 267,061 cases, 13,608 deaths, 5% have died. And look, it's not really increasing because God loves the Muslims. Saudi Arabia is 243,238 cases. They're number two. Their death is 2,370. 1% of the people died. Yeah, if you're going to be like a liberal Christian who embraces homosexuality, you're going to go to hell anyway. It's better for you to be a Muslim. Yeah, because at least if you're a Muslim, you're not going to be hated by God because you're following the Ten Commandments while you're on earth. Right? If you're a Christian, liberal Christian who embraces LGBTQ rights, God's going to hate you. You're going to feel the hatred of God every day of your life until you die, and then you're going to go to hell. I mean, yeah, it's better to be a Muslim who follows Sharia law than a Christian who doesn't follow Bible law, right? Yeah, I mean, in the pecking order of things, if you're going to go to hell anyway, don't you want to live a nice life, healthy life on earth? Yeah. God loves Muslims because, Muslims are going to go to hell because they don't believe in Jesus. The only way you can go to heaven is if you believe in Jesus. But God's going to bless everybody on earth who keeps his law while they're living on earth. So Muslims will have a lot of nice life. They'll live a nice life while they're here. Yeah, Saudi Arabia, another country where a lot of people have nice life. And then number 3, Qatar. And the music you're hearing is Arabic music. I love Arabic music. Arabic music is just history of Arab, the culture. It's a long history, Arabs gave us like mathematics, right? Arabs, gave us a lot of stuff. That's why we have the pyramids, like the geometry of that. Yeah, Arabs gave us a lot of stuff because, as I said, Ishmael, who's the father of Arabs, has bloodline from Abraham. And God blessed Ishmael, said he's going to make his nation great. God kept his promises to all the Arabs, descendants of Ishmael, and God gave them free oil, so they didn't even have to work for their wealth. God keeps his promises. And obviously the Muslims have been faithful to God by illegalizing homosexuality and executing homosexuals, keeping the Ten Commandments, and that's why God keeps blessing Muslims. Jews, on the other hand, they have the Torah, same Ten Commandments as the Muslims, but they keep legalizing abortion and homosexuality, so they always get whacked by God with different peoples throughout 2,000 years. That's the difference between Muslims and Jews. God loves the Muslims because they keep Ten Commandments, Sharia law. God blesses Jews when they keep the Torah, Talmud, but Jews keep breaking the Talmud, and then God whacks them with, with other people. And that God whacked Israel with Babylon. God whacked Israel with Romans, both of whom destroyed Israel as a nation. Because Israel keeps breaking God's law. You see Jews in America, right? How many Jews do you know oppose gay marriage? I rest my case. Yeah, because from God's vantage point, if you're not opposed to gay marriage, then you're not following his law. So he's going to punish you. And that's why God's blessing Muslim nations. If the princess of Saudi Arabia starts supporting gay rights, God will kill the royal dynasty of Saud by raising up the people. You'll see. But as long as the Saudi Arabian princess observes Sharia law, 10 Commandments, God's going to make sure they continue in their power, wealth, and good health and prosperity. That's just the way God is. God only cares about one thing, that is whether you keep his law or not. God has a lot of latitude. Once you keep his law, God gives you a lot of freedom. You could have whichever form of government you want. You could do whatever you want. What God wants you to do is core values must align with God's values. Even if you can't keep them every time, God wants you in principle to align yourself with God's law. And that's what Saudi Arabia does. That's why God keeps blessing it. Qatar as well. Right? Look at that. 105,477 cases, 152 deaths. That's what God's love means. God loves Qatar. God hates you. That's why you're getting COVID and dying. Because you support gay rights. So that's why God hates you. Yeah. Because you hate God's law. Romans chapter 1 clearly says what God wants, and you oppose Romans chapter 1. So why should God love you when you hate Romans chapter 1? You don't want to follow him. So God hates you. You understand what's going on here? You follow God's law, God's going to love you. You don't follow God's law, God's going to hate you. That's whether you're American or Saudi Arabian, it doesn't matter. God wants you to follow God's law. Simple as that. As I said, you don't get saved and have eternal life through the law. You only are saved through eternal life in Jesus Christ, faith in Jesus. But on this earth, God will bless you if you keep his law. The law is about blessing of God on earth. That's why Jesus said, I came to fulfill the law. He didn't abrogate the law. He did not cancel the law. 10 Commandments has not been canceled. It is in effect today. So Iraq is number 4, and then 86,148 cases, and their death is at 3,522. And Iraq has more death because it has like American soldiers and stuff. And as I said, American soldiers who thinks that gays should have rights, God hates them. God hates you if you think you have LGBTQ rights is a good thing. God hates you, U.S. soldiers. Yeah, so that's why a lot of people are dying in Iraq. Yeah, I mean, why do you think God's going to love you when you oppose God's law? For God's sake, you oppose God's law, God's going to hate you. Doesn't matter if you're an American citizen. Doesn't matter if you're a Korean citizen. Doesn't matter if you're a Saudi Arabian citizen. You oppose God's law, God's going to hate you. Simple. God's love is always conditional. When Adam and Eve, they disobeyed God, God kicked them out of the Garden of Eden and made sure they died. Just for eating one fruit. That's who God is. God is intolerant. You don't keep God's law. Wages of sin is death, God says in the Old Testament. Yeah. Oman has 62,574 cases, 290 deaths, less than 1% death. So you see, God loves those who keep God's commandment. Obviously, I'm not married. I want to marry a woman who loves God, but also wants to keep God's commandment. I cannot marry any woman who supports LGBTQ rights because you're not a Christian if you support LGBTQ rights. I mean, I don't know whether you're a Christian or not. I'm not God. But as human beings, when we're trying to decide who we want to marry, we do have to kind of assess So any woman who says, I support LGBTQ rights, I have to function as if she's not a Christian. I don't know what she believes in her heart. I don't know where she's done with God. Maybe it's just a phase. Maybe she's kind of back, you know, laugh. But as a Christian man trying to find a good Christian woman, I cannot marry a woman who supports killing little babies through abortion, because what kind of woman supports killing babies? Things are not gonna work out right with that woman. And Romans chapter 1 clearly opposes LGBTQ plus rights. I can't marry a woman who supports it. It doesn't matter if you're Baptist or Assemblies of God. God doesn't care about labels. God cares about your heart. So it doesn't matter if your label is Baptist or Assemblies of God. If you support gay rights, then you're going to hell. Well, in principle, obviously only God is judged. But when I'm trying to marry a woman as a Christian man, I cannot marry a woman who supports gay rights or abortion. And all of you Christian men out there, that should be the reason why you reject the women. Yeah. There are a lot of beautiful women out there, and the music is great, Arabic music. I would encourage you to go to the beach this weekend, You don't know when you're going to die. If you're a single man, you need to get married. America's like 100% Christian or 90% plus Christian. Any woman you're going to meet at the beach are probably going to be a Christian. And if she's not a Christian, you just don't marry her, right? So you should go to the beach, have fun. Stay away from people like social distance, but if you find a woman who's beautiful and you want to marry her, obviously you're going to talk to her, right? But yeah, so go to the beach, have fun. I mean, they may close down the beach in August, because we have like 1,000 cases of COVID-19 right now per day in Virginia. So they may close the beach down in August. Maryland has about 700 cases, so they may close down beach in August. So go to the beach when you still have time, don't miss out on the fun, swim with the fishes. What up, Virginia Beach? You can swim with Mindy. If you don't like Mindy, you can swim with Mandy. Yeah. So, don't miss out on the fun, because there's not going to be any fun in the wintertime. It's going to be cold. Everything's going to be closed. There will be no fun. This is the only time you're going to have fun. Because in the wintertime, what are you going to do? Go to the beach and swim? All the ski resorts will be closed in the winter. There won't be one ski resort that will be open. So there is going to be no fun in the winter. That's a guarantee. There's going to be no skiing, no snowboarding. There's going to be no fun in the winter. There's nothing you can do in the winter. You can't even hike because it's so cold outside. So make use of your weekend. Go hiking in the mountains. Go biking in a bike trail. Go horseback riding. Go play golf. Play tennis. Go to the beach. Beach is the best, because it's most fun. I love the beach the best. Yeah, don't miss out on all the fun. I mean, don't be an idiot. It's winter. There's going to be zero fun, zero. No skiing, no snowboarding. You can't even play golf because it's cold outside. You can't go hiking. You can't even go biking. You're going to have to stay at home, inside your home. There's nothing you can do. All the bars will be closed. All the restaurants will be closed. Nothing will be open. So make sure you stock out on fun and a lot of photos. Because winter, you're going to be hibernating at your home. Hibernation, man. Hibernation. So can I get a 5? Can I get a 5 on fun this weekend? Can I get a 5? Because you're going to be hibernating like a bear. Hibernating like a bear in wintertime. You may need to get flashlight to try to find your way, because no shop's going to have light open. Everything is going to be closed. Because COVID-19 is going to be everywhere, and so you may well be just be invisible, because you're not going anywhere. You're going to stay home. 24/7, 7 days a week for the whole winter time. Everything is going to be closed. And if you live in a Democratic state, police car will come by if you're like walking around without a mask and give you a $300 ticket. That's why you're looking at a winter time. So enjoy the summer when you can. Because it's going to be gone in a month and a half. Yeah, so there are horrific things that are happening right now with the children of America. And it seems like children of America are going to die in the winter if you open up your schools. As you know, Heerak Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, has been calling for weeks to close down Arlington Public Schools, Alexandria City Public Schools, Falls Church City Public Schools, Fairfax County Public Schools, because I, Heerak Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress, wants your child to live, because I know your child gives you joy that no one gives you. I know that if your child were to die this winter, then you have nothing to live for. Some of you will commit suicide. Because I know this, I've been calling for closing schools. I'm the Leonardo da Vinci of 21st century, and I know what you're going to do when all your children die of COVID. It's not just one child, because if one child gets it, all your children get it. It's like chickenpox, and all your children can die. All 3 of your children can die within days of each other. You don't think you're going to commit suicide? I assure you, we're going to have thousands of American parents committing suicide when all of their children die from COVID. Thousands. Just wait and see if I'm wrong. I mean, I love to be wrong because I don't want anybody to commit suicide. Because as you know, suicide is a mortal sin. You commit suicide, you're going to eternal damnation in hell. But I'm sure that you will do that because not everybody's sane. I mean, if you support gay marriage, obviously you're not a true Christian. So you're going to hell anyway. So if you support gay marriage. Like Kavanaugh, he's going to eternal damnation in hell. He's going to be rotting in hell. They have a special place for Kavanaugh in hell. Yeah, he's going to be tortured. It's extra special for supporting LGBTQ rights. Just wait and see. But yeah, so I want to save you. I want to help your family. I don't want you to be miserable. I want you to find happiness in your life. You're not going to be happy if all of your children die from COVID. I'm like, let's put the priorities straight here. And I'm trying to help President Trump win the election. What is the most important thing in your life? People of Virginia's 8th District, Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County. What's the most important thing in your life? It's your children. Even though you may love money, you rather lose that than your children. And you're gonna just like open the schools up, send your children to die? Is that a rational way to act? I think like having been cooped up from March to May may have done some brain damage, because obviously if you don't want your children to die, you will not want your children to go to school, because this thing is spreading like wildfire. Why would you want your children to study at school? Why? Because you could work? I mean, find another job. Quit your job if you have to go in physically. Find a job where you can work from home. I mean, there are a lot of jobs, if you're, especially a college graduate, you can find a job that's like internet-based, or start your own company. Start making like COVID-19 masks at your home. Accommodate in order to help your children live. You got to put your priorities straight. A lot of parents in Virginia's 8th District are really bad parents because you care more about your job. You care more about your profession. And some of you are willing to put your children's life at risk for your job. And that's not the right priority. That's not the Christian way. Christian parents are supposed to put their children's lives first. So If there's a way around risking your children's life, you should do it. That should be your priority. So you can always find a job. You could start a company, you know, dip into your savings, do whatever you need to do to protect your children's lives while you find a new job if you have a job where you have to physically go in. You need to accommodate the situation now where 100% of your children, all three of them, can die. You have to put priorities straight. Your priority is your children's lives. It's not making money. It's not going to work. These are not your priorities. They're not the most important thing in your life. Your children's lives are the most important thing in your life. And just to remember, they're your children, but if they're born again and baptized, they're not just your children, they're children of God. So God expects you to be good stewards of his children. So, don't be just playing with their lives like that. So I reiterate my call. I, Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. I reiterate my call to close down Arlington County Public Schools, Alexandria City Public Schools, Falls Church City Public Schools, and Fairfax County Public Schools. President Trump is absolutely wrong to force people to go to the school. And I have doubt thinking that that's President Trump because that's a crazy thing to do. I'm thinking like Jared Kushner's behind it or Ivanka Trump, but I oppose President Trump 100% in trying to open up schools to risk your children's lives. And every one of you should oppose President Trump trying to open up schools in Virginia because there are 1,000 cases right now. It's going to rise to 2,000, 3,000. If we open up schools, it could rise to 10,000 per month, per day. You should oppose President Trump because that's the right thing to do because saving life is always important. You see, I am pro-life. I march for life. I march for the lives of the unborn children. I march for the lives of your children who are alive right now. I mean, unborn children are alive too, but they're inside the womb. I march for your children's lives, and I oppose President Trump endangering your children's lives because that's what he's doing. I oppose it 100%. Because I march for life. I'm pro-life. I don't want your children to die. And it's irresponsible to send your children to school to die. Why? So you could go to work? So American economy could get better? Get the priorities straight. Love of money is evil. Remember, remember the saying, love of money is the root of all evil. And that applies here. And so I oppose President Trump 100%. And I call on every senator, every House of Representative member to oppose President Trump in his effort to open up schools, because that's evil. I consider that evil because I'm pro-life. It doesn't jive with pro-life ideas to send children to their death. That is not pro-life. And I shame you, every Republican senator who want to open up your public schools when, like South Carolina, North Carolina, Texas, these cases are rising. I shame you, every senator in Florida, every senator in Texas, every senator in Arizona who are Republicans, House of Representative members who want to open up public schools when your state has like record case of COVID-19, because you're not really pro-life. I mean, you may oppose abortion, but you're not really pro-life because you're willing to risk life for business, for economy. You love money more than life. That's not pro-life. Pro-life people love life more than money. That's what separates pro-life for those who are not pro-life. So you may be anti-abortion just for the votes. I mean, are you really pro-life when you're going to send children to their death? Especially states like Florida, California, Arizona, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Alabama, you must close your schools. Well, don't close your school. Do what you want. I mean, I'm saying if you open your schools, your children will die. So don't say that I didn't warn you. So far, I've been right since the very beginning in everything I predicted. I predicted that this is a 365 days a year virus. I was right. I said this is not seasonal cold virus. I was right. I said people are going to die in large numbers in the summer. I was right. I said you need to wear a mask to protect yourself from the very beginning, and I was right. Um, this is what Dr. Fauci was saying, don't wear a mask. When World Health Organization was saying, don't wear a mask. Dr. Gupta and CNN was saying, don't wear a mask. You remember that? I was saying, wear a mask. Always wear a mask outside. That's my recommendation. Obviously, I'm not going to force you. If you don't want to wear a mask, you're not a slave. Do what you want. But I'm saying my recommendations were right. And I'm right this time too. Schools open up, your children will die. Let me present to you my evidence. First article, nearly 1,000 COVID-19 cases reported in California daycare center. This is a summer. In the wintertime, there's going to be flu and cold. These children are going to die. 1,000 children are going to die. Most of them. That's from NBC Bay Area, written by Candice Nugent, Robert Campos, Michael Horn, and Jeremy Carroll. I'm glad that President Trump fired Pascal, because maybe it was Pascal who was saying, like, open up all those schools. I refuse to believe that President Trump is stupid and wants everybody to open up schools, because that's such a stupid thing to do, because you're like sending people to death. So I think it's probably Pascal who recommended that. Yeah, you gotta fire these stupid campaign managers who don't know what they're doing. They'll ruin you. How do you know if they're not taking 30 shekels of silver to make President Trump lose? If I'm President Trump, I wouldn't trust anyone, because a lot of people who hate President Trump who are willing to pay $10 million to his campaign manager, an offshore account or Swiss bank account, to make you lose, President Trump. I wouldn't trust anyone with this election. I would want to trust Jesus with this, and I'll trust me because I tell you the truth. But I wouldn't trust anyone else. Yeah, because they're not gonna. You don't know who's taking $10 million off under the table, and that they will be paid $10 million more when you lose. You don't know what's going on. There are a lot of billionaires who will write a check for $10 million to your staffers to undermine your election. President Trump, don't trust anyone in Team Trump. This is not your first election. This is re-election. It's different. You cannot trust anyone. It's a completely different situation. Even in first election, you could have people who are trying to undermine your victory, but this time I guarantee you there are people receiving cash money to make you lose within Team Trump. I guarantee you. That's how politics is. Politics is very dirty. Don't be innocent about it, President Trump. I wouldn't trust a single person in Team Trump. So the important quote for this is, new data revealed by NBC Bay Area's investigative unit shows 998 COVID-19 cases in childcare facilities across California. This is not happening in just one facility. It's happening everywhere. And that's why I'm saying, you open up schools, your children are going to get COVID. During flu season, they're going to die. The investigative unit documents how 2 Bay Area child care centers scrambled to prevent outbreaks after learning of COVID-19 positive cases among the kids who attended their facilities. So another danger, obviously, is if the kids get it, their parents can die, or their grandparents can die. So that's another danger. Either way, a lot of people are going to die. Don't open schools. That's stupid. President Trump should be. Don't set yourself as a scapegoat, because death is coming. People are going to be burying their dead in the winter. You can't backtrack. Everything is recorded, right? I mean, if you're going to backtrack, you better backtrack now before it's too late. Because you can't backtrack once like thousands of children die. They may bring you up under criminal charges, President Trump, especially if you lose in November. If you say you're not going to pay states if they don't open up, you can be charged for crimes against humanity. You know that, right, President Trump? Ask any lawyer who's an international criminal lawyer. You can be charged under, you can be charged in The Hague, in the International Criminal Court, for crimes against humanity, for saying as a president of a country that you're going to withhold funding if they do not open their school district through a global pandemic. It's a global pandemic, President Trump. And you'll be found guilty in the International Court of Law. That's 100% guaranteed. If thousands of children die, there's no way you're going to be found innocent. Because they're going to say you're just like any evil leader who use their power to kill the citizens or have their killed citizens put in jeopardy. That's what they're going to say. You're going to go to jail for a long time, President Trump, if you keep in this path. Same with governors. You will go to prison when thousands of children die, and you're the reason why these 1,000 children die. You will go to prison. You know, I'm not joking here. I'm a historian. I'm one of the best historians in the history, in the world. I've studied history after history. You know, you saw what happened with George Floyd protests. They're going to target you that way. It's going to be 1,000 times more violent. You're going to go to prison, or they're going to lynch you just from near a street. If you're a governor who they blame for thousands of children dying, they're going to just take you out of your governor's mansion, lynch you right outside of your tree, or your governor's mansion. Watch, this will happen once thousands of children die. There's going to be such social unrest, you're not going to survive. I'm trying to prevent you from being lynched by an angry mob. You saw how angry the mob was, right? In George Floyd protests, there's nothing compared to what's coming in November. A lot of politicians will be executed, just like in broad daylight, with the support of the police. If millions of children die, you're 100% guaranteed to have that. 100% guaranteed. I'm a historian, so I know what angry mobs do. I've studied this for years, for decades. So don't be stupid, President Trump. Don't be stupid, Republican senators, governors, House of Representative members. You're not going to survive an angry mob if their children die. You're not. How much do you love your children? What would you do if somebody just walked up to them and killed them? Well, that's basically what the parents are going to blame you for. So why do you doubt that they're going to hang you from the nearest tree until your neck is broken? Why do you doubt that? You know, be rational and logical. You don't play with other children's lives, right? If the parents want to send their children, have a vote. If the majority of the parents want it, then you could always blame them for having the majority vote to open up schools. Don't be the governor who says, I'm going to open up schools, because you're going to go to jail. You're going to go to prison. And that would be like the best case scenario. You going to prison. Most likely you'll be just like lynched by an angry mob. And police will be helping them, because their children would have died too. Don't mess with children's lives, it's 100% lose-lose situation. You open up schools, even if one child dies, you're going to lose. Because they could always blow that up when you're in November, and you will lose. You will not win an election in November with children dying, and then you're blamed for opening up schools. You're not going to win. And that goes for you, President Trump, too. You're not going to win in November because there definitely going to be at least one child who dies. I'm thinking like thousands, maybe even up to 1 million children will die. There's no way you're going to win. So get your priorities straight. You don't mess with people's lives. You don't mess with their children's lives. You just don't do that. So I would say the safest way for President Trump to win is say, governors, I give you the power to do what you want in your schools. We'll give you funding, whatever you do. You gotta be politically savvy like that. That's how you win presidency. You don't win presidency by taking like a hard line on an issue that's not vital, right? I mean, geez, abortion is a vital issue, so people will vote for you if you take a hard line position. Gay marriage is a critical issue, so people will vote for you if you take a hard line. But opening up schools, this is not even an issue you should get involved with. You should have just like given 100% of the decision to divorce. I mean, you shouldn't even be getting involved with this discussion. You know, I mean, unless you want to say don't open up schools, which I'm doing. And because it's a lose-lose scenario when you say open up schools, because they're going to blame you for every death. They're already blaming you. I mean, geez, can you imagine once we clock 5,000 deaths, what's going to happen? Jeez, you have to have like a Pope mobile around you, you know, because so many people be taking a pot shot from you with their high power rifles. You won't be supporting NRA then. I mean, geez, you know, what do you think people are going to do when their children die? They blame you for it. Do the math, okay, President Trump? Don't be stupid. I don't know who's putting you up to this, but he's not your friend. She's not your friend. He or she wants you to be assassinated. That's why he or she, whoever recommended to you to stand firm on the school issue, he or she wants you to be assassinated. This can only end in one or two ways. You going to prison or you being assassinated by people whose children died in school because you forced them to go to school. That's what they're going to say. Listen to your question, Kim. I care about you, President Trump, because, you know, as I said, as long as you stand against the LGBTQ, you're the president for America. I'll support you. And obviously, I support your opposition to abortion. So I want you to be president as long as you're opposed to LGBTQ. So I want you to live. I don't want you to die before the election. So that's why, you know, I care about you, you know, because I care about Jesus. Obviously, you know, hopefully you don't betray Jesus by supporting LGBTQ plus. But yeah, but anyhow, yeah, I think I'm being rational when I say you should expect parents of children who die from schools opening to attempt to assassinate you. I think that's something that you need to count on, and it could be in the dozens, it could be in the thousands. You'll be more unpopular than Stalin, you know, if million children die. Yeah. So yeah. So don't go there. Don't go there. Backtrack, President Trump. If you want to live, if you don't want to go to prison, backtrack like there's no tomorrow. You know, you don't want to take a position that's going to end up sending you to prison for none. I mean, like, I don't have problem with the prison for Jesus. I don't have problem dying for Jesus. I don't want to die for some stupid policy that has no moral implication, right? I mean, how stupid do you have to be to stand on school opening issue when there's no morality involved? You must be an idiot because you're going to lose the election. There's no one who supports opening schools, in my opinion, who will win in the fall. Not a single one. Even the Republicans will vote against you. These children will die. Yeah, so yeah, so investigative unit documents how 2 Bay Area childcare centers scrambled to prevent outbreaks after learning COVID-19 positive cases among the children who attend their facilities. Do you see why I need to go to Congress? Because current Republican House of Representative members are so stupid. They're willing to stick their neck out and emphasize opening schools because you know they're going to be lynched, you know, when the children die. They're so stupid. I need to be in U.S. Congress to rescue them from being lynched. You know, yeah, vote for me for U.S. Congress because, you know, not only do I need to rescue the House of Representative members, I need to rescue your children. Yeah. And I need to be in Congress to do that. So you should vote for me for Virginia's 8th District. You see, Don Barr's not saying anything. He doesn't care about your children. I care about your children. Second article is 31% of coronavirus tests in Florida, children are positive, data shows. It's summer, there's no cold, really. In the winter, they could die. All 31% can die. A report detailing pediatric cases of coronavirus in Florida shows more than 17,000 people under the age of 18 have been diagnosed with COVID-19. That includes 213 pediatric hospitalization, which means all 213 could die. You're only hospitalized if you could die, right? And 4 children have died. So, it's still early. We may have all of those 213 people dying. You shouldn't be surprised because obviously you don't go to hospital unless you're critically ill. Like you're not hospitalized unless you're critically ill, or you're acutely ill that requires hospitalization, right? Third article, Dallas County delays all in-person education extracurriculars until after Labor Day. So that's a smart move because they need to see what's going to happen. I told you a lot of children are going to die because there are school districts that are opening. So we'll see from that a lot of people are going to die. So Dallas, they're being smart. They don't want to take the blame. The mayor is smart because he doesn't want to be lynched. You have to be smart like that, or you're going to end up getting lynched. When children die, their parents are not going to forgive you. Article, the quote is Dallas County Health and Human Services issued an order Thursday requiring all Dallas County schools to delay in-person education and extracurricular activities until after September 7th due to the surge of COVID-19 cases and hospitalization. Yeah. And if they're smart, they'll end up closing the school and just having online education. As I said, this is a global pandemic where people die. We need to prioritize life. Life is more important than anything else. Unfortunately, I do want to, kind of commemorate and also remember my 25 member cohort, clinical nurse leader cohort, 2020 at Georgetown University. I predict that 10,000 nurses minimum will die by Christmas. There are nurses dying already, but it's going to get worse during winter. This is only summer. We have 1,000 deaths now. In winter, we're going to have like 10,000 easy dying per day. So a lot of nurses are going to die. And I'm predicting that at least 5 to 10 will die from my cohort. Not just my cohort, like every cohort that graduated in 2020, because we're inexperienced, we can make mistakes. And more experienced nurses, they've been exposed to more viruses since they've been nurses for a long time. We haven't really been exposed to that many viruses and bacteria, so a lot of nurses develop immunity while they work because, they have to work with MRSA, methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, all kinds of viruses and bacteria. Some of them got sick and recovered. So they've developed immunity against like a lot of viruses and, so their chance of dying from like MRSA is lower, but a lot of new nurses, they may not die from COVID, but they may die from MRSA or VRE, other types of infections. So I think 20% of all class of 2020 nurses will die. That's my prediction. And so obviously I don't want anybody to die, but I think they will. And I've been right? I'm right about summer having just as many cases and death as in the spring, right? I said that. Just watch my shows. I've been right all along. So I think I'm right. We're going to have at least 10,000 nurses die by December. And I think I'm right, unfortunately, that at least 5 to 10 of my core members will die by Christmas. So, if they work as nurses, obviously, yeah. So I want to do the cheer because I love every one of the members of CNL, and it's kind of sad, because I was looking forward to like working with them, for decades and decades, but that's not going to happen. Some of them are going to die before Christmas because of COVID, and World Health Organization says COVID-19 is forever. So life is not going to be the same from now, possibly forever, right? So yeah, I mean, the condition we're in, you're looking at this for foreseeable future. So yeah, so I want to, kind of do a cheer for all of us, as a way to kind of celebrate what we have achieved, and no one can take that away, although some may die, but you have that even when you die. You know what I'm saying? So no one can take that away. So pin, 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 pin. Yay! CNL, CNL, Georgetown University, CNL, 2020, Georgetown, 25 of us, we did it, we got pinned. Yay! Being human is different from being an animal. And I don't think like Democratic politicians understand that. They just want to wear a mask and force us to do, what they want us to do. But we're not animals. We're like human beings. We celebrate birthdays. We celebrate happy moments like anniversary. Animals don't do that. And when we're sad, we're sad. So that's what makes us humans. That's why I'm saying go to the beach with your children. Do something fun while you can, because you may die this winter, especially if school's open and your children come back with COVID and give to you and you die. You need to give your children memories they can remember by, because they could live a life that's filled with sadness if you don't give them some happy memories. What makes us human is we have memories, and more happy memories we have, we hang on to that, and that gives us joy, especially in times of sadness. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you need to do things with your children. You may not feel like doing it. You may be in depression. It doesn't matter. You need to get yourself out there because you love your children, and do something with your children. Like go to the beach, go to the mountains, go biking, something. Because as I said, you may die in the winter. You need to give your children happy memories. You got to give them something, right? I mean, you're there. You say you love them. You got to give them something, for the rest of their lives. And memories are the greatest gift that you could give them. I mean, no, faith is the greatest gift you could give them. So you should have family devotion every day with your children. But after faith, after Christian faith, the greatest thing you can give them is happy memories. So do something fun, but make sure you're safe. Wear a mask, when people are around you. And when you're walking towards the beach, wear a mask. Have your children wear a mask. Once you're in the beach in your isolated area, you could take off your mask, if there's like nobody within 6 feet of you. Yeah, and don't go inside any restaurant to eat anything. I would say pack something from home, or, pick up in a driveway, be safe. But do something fun with your children. And you should do that the whole summer, until Governor Northam closes down the beach. You should do something fun. And I recommend beach. So everybody loves the beach, the children especially. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. But yeah, yeah. So hopefully, you have fun time this weekend. This is Thursday. You have today, tomorrow to plan it. I would recommend you leave early. Because you can't really stay behind late. It's not like 2019 summer where you could walk around in the boardwalk, go to the restaurant, play skee ball and like other kind of board games, play miniature golf. It's not like that. It's not like that. So basically, you have to come home. I mean, so you should leave earlier and come home earlier. Because you can't really like do fun stuff at night. Yeah. So yeah, so spend some time with your children doing something fun. Make some good memories. I would encourage you to like make like albums. Like a kind of like a physical, tangible yearbook. We don't know what's going to happen to, computer data, So make sure your children have some physical photos that they could hold on to. Um, maybe like create like a little picture book, You could have a fun project with your children, you could create your own family, like summer book. You have your children write some poems, do some drawings, you could write something and do some drawings, and then you could easily create this at like Walgreens or, at Office Depot, you could even have hardback, and it's like a little summer thing, that they could hold on to. So if you die, like in October, they have that little book that they can look at and remember you by, and when they're depressed, they can look at it, give them joy, I mean, be creative, care about your children because you could die. There's high chance you could die if you're like over 40 and you have like, if you're overweight or you have asthma, there's a high chance you're going to die. So, presume you're going to die, make sure you make a will, and do a lot of fun things. Make a fun picture book physically to give to your children. Don't be lazy and just like post them on like Facebook. We don't know what's going to happen to the computer world. We don't know what the world's going to look like 5 years from now. You're assuming like we're going to have internet in 5 years. We don't know what's going to happen in 5 years. I mean, if enough people die of COVID in farmlands, we won't have food. You're looking at a world maybe in 5 years where everything breaks down, at least in the American context, because this is our country where we are having all these deaths. Our infrastructure can break down everywhere. That may happen to the world. It may just happen in America. Either way, if it happens here, it's not good for us. Right? We don't know what's going to happen. 5 years from now may look completely different from what it is, because in time of peace, you could kind of count on things kind of being stable and kind of being similar. But world is very unstable. You saw during George Floyd protests how unstable the world is. It could happen like that, just with one person dying. One person dying can throw the whole country into incredible violence. And as a historian, I guarantee you we're going to have much more violent events like that next 5 years. Because that's how the world is. I mean, hopefully, I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. Yeah, so the world may look completely different. I would recommend that you watch the movie. You know that movie, like dystopian movies, because we are living in a form of dystopia if you want to be technical about it. But I'm predicting that things are going to get so bad that dystopian world may actually be more attractive than the world that may be coming in few years. That's what I'm saying. I'm a historian, and I've studied what happens in history, and you have to expect the unexpected. You cannot presume that the way things are now will continue like this. You just cannot assume that, especially in time of war or time of famine or time of pandemic. You cannot assume it. Anything can happen. Everything is linked. All the institutions, all the infrastructures, food source. I know Secretary of Agriculture, Perdue, is a really good guy, and he's trying to keep the food source going, but there's no guarantee that that's going to continue for the next 5 years. There's no guarantee. Yeah. So So I hate to be like realistic about it, but you do need to face the facts, especially if you're mother or father and you have children. You need to plan your family in a way, uh, and I would recommend every family in Virginia to get several shotguns, several semi-automatic pistols, and several M16 rifles, semi-automatic rifles, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future, and make sure every one of your children get training in the usage of these weapons. Obviously, lock up your weapons, but there may be a moment in the future. Hopefully, it won't come, but it could. You saw George Floyd protest, right? What if they targeted white suburban neighborhoods? I say that because during the LA riots, uh, uh, the rioters targeted Korean American shops. So, as a Korean American, I have experience with African American rioters. Obviously, it was the same riot, the same kind of riot, like they were protesting uh, for for unfair death, but they targeted Korean shops with people in it. So it can happen. You should not think that it can happen. And it could be different sector of people. It could be the Muslims. It could be the Jews. I mean, it could be African Americans. It could be Hispanic Americans. It could be like anyone. We don't know. One thing we do know is that society has unrest. It could be terrorists. We may have like terrorists coming into our country with improvised nuclear device. We don't know what's going to happen. Just because we're suffering from pandemic doesn't mean that there aren't people out there like Russia or Venezuela who may have hostile intentions. We don't know. This is why I'm saying vote for Heerak Christian Kim for U.S. Congress and Virginia's 8th District, because we need to prepare for all eventualities. And Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress, does not feel that U.S. Senate and U.S. House of Representatives are doing enough to prepare for potential unrest in the future. We need to prepare, right? Look at where we are, because we didn't prepare for COVID during President Barack Obama's years, right? If President Barack Obama spent 8 years preparing for a global pandemic, this would not be happening. But he did not do anything for 8 years to prepare for something like this. He's just like, push that aside. So right now I feel like the U.S. Senate and U.S. House of Representatives, they're not really focusing on like year 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. You need to assume that COVID-19 will be here in 2025. Because if you don't assume that, you're not going to plan for it. If you don't plan for it, we're not going to be ready. Do you see what I'm saying? Obviously, if we plan for it and, it disappears, praise the Lord, right? I mean, great. But at least we prepare for the worst case scenario. We need to prepare for the worst case scenario and hope that it won't happen. And that's not going to happen if you think COVID-19 is going to go away next year. All these scientists cannot be wrong. Some of them are going to be right. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's safer for everyone in America if we prepare for an America where COVID-19 will be more lethal in 2025 than 2020, right? Worst case scenario, you got to prepare for that. You cannot assume that this is going to stay the same virus. We know for a fact that COVID-19 in the second peak, June to August, infects young people, which it didn't really do in the first peak because we tested people, right? In the first peak. There were children who tested positive, but not to the extent that they're testing positive now. So something changed because we tested children before too. Now it infects children. We know that. Now the next question we have to ask is, what does that mean for the flu season? You see what I'm saying? That's a short-term question we have to ask. And Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, is saying thousands of America's children will die if they go to school during the flu season. And I want to prevent that. right? And that's why I have this show to give you awareness, bring evidence and documentation so that you could join me, Heerak, Christian Kim, in making America safe again, right? And it starts with securing public schools to be 100% online. And I've been calling Georgetown University to go 100% online as well. Because if you have college students coming from Florida, Texas, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Arizona, California, we could easily go to 10,000 cases per day in this Washington, D.C. area. Because they're going to bring what they have in these states here. So I've been calling on Georgetown University to shut down Georgetown for fall semester, and they're still not listening. I'm hoping they will listen, but that's what makes me the national leader that you need in U.S. Congress. So I think many steps ahead. You know, we have to be proactive, not reactive. Right now, our country, America, is reactive, meaning when people die, we react to that. That's not a way to survive COVID. That's not a way to survive any pandemic. We have to be proactive. And I'm a proactive leader. Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress, Virginia's 8th District. I proactively call on Georgetown University to close in fall 2020 so that we can avoid the deaths. I proactively call on Arlington County Public School to close so that we can avoid the death. I'm proactive, right? That's what makes me a great leader. I'm a proactive leader. But there are too many people who are reactive, meaning they act like everything is normal until like there's a spike in COVID-19, and then react to that and they start closing everything down. Reactively, like Gavin Newsom is a reactive leader in California. This Democratic governor in California, he's reactive. He should be more proactive. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Harry's nodding. He says he understands. If Harry could vote in America, he would vote for Iraq in America. But Harry, do you have an English citizenship? I think Harry's English. So, yeah. Yeah, so thanks for joining me today for my show. I hope that you have fun at the beach on Saturday. And Sunday, obviously, you should go to church. Yeah, Saturday, have fun at the beach. If you don't have work tomorrow, you can go to the beach tomorrow as well. Have 2 days at the beach, you know, Friday and Saturday. So, yeah. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And I hope that your family will be well and that you will be well too. See you tomorrow. Bye.